Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Hello, everyone. Tell me if my mic is okay. Hello, 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 everyone. Is the quality all right? A bit louder. All right. Like this? Is it better? Tell me when it's fine. Привет, привет. So it's fine. We can start. All right. One more time. A bit more. All right. So, like this. Привет, привет. Hello, hello. All right. So, let's get over the plan of our event. Hold on. So here's the plan for today. So in the first part of our anniversary event, we're gonna go over some community mod, which was recently released on Workshop. I just wanna showcase this mod and just give some credits to its modder. So in the second part, we're gonna see a little bit of update on exclusive console chapter called Cursed Sands, made by Evgeny. He's here with us today. In a third part, we're gonna take a look at Castle Gothicstein, and we're gonna share some news about its current state. After that, we're gonna look over the Victors project, the long-awaited project made by modders from Ukraine and Russia. After that, we're gonna take a little interview from our special guest, which is gonna be original Return to Castle Wolfenstein developer. And in the last part, we're gonna celebrate the release of Enemy Territory single player mod made by William. He's here with us today. So, shall we start? Is everyone ready? I'm certainly is. All right, so community spotlight. So let me open the Steam for a second. There's a mod I want to show to you guys. Hold on. I'm gonna open the Steam. So here it is. Can you see it? Can you see my Steam window? So it's a mod which was recently released on RealRTCW Workshop called Elite God, which is basically replaces all human enemies with elite gods. Sounds quite familiar because there was quite a few similar mods, but this mod just take it to another level. Let's see a couple of screenshots. So as you can see, this is a new Helga. Looking awesome. Like, just look at this cape he took from Mariana Blavatsky. Look at his hat. So this mod, as I told you guys, just take it to another level with a lot of details and a lot of effort, which Colonel Vanek put into his mod. We've also got elite guards in a gas masks and with the capes, which are basically, I think this is a replacement for black guards. What else? There's a bunch of them. What else? Oh, he also improved the face textures, as you can see. This is just awesome. What else? I think this is a scientist's replacement. There are new haircuts too, like this is more look like vanilla but improved face textures. Basically a replacement for usual soldiers. Show the female Dr. Z. Hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. This is just hilarious and awesome at the same time. What else? Oh, I like this face texture and this haircut. So, and Colonel Vanek is updating his mod constantly. You can see there was like, how much? 8 updates. Like, you see? So, guys, just subscribe to this mod. I don't know. Give it a thumbs up because it is great mod and deserves some attention. It's just nice to see someone else apart from me and our usual mod community members. So it's just cool to see new faces. So that's it for community spotlight, I guess. Let's get to the second part and see some cursed sands. Hold on, I'm gonna open it up. By the way, I'm gonna put all links for all content in the description. I'm gonna put an Elite Guard mod right now. Hold on. How do I? Yeah, Elite Guard mod link is in the description right now, guys. So let's get to the second part, shall we? All right. Yeah. Oh, this was a little bit loud. Let me get some music. It's just too quiet. All right, can you hear the music? Oh, hey Mike. By the way, original Wolfenstein developer is here. Oh, it seems we're gonna have a couple of developers from original game. So we get Mike and Jeremy today with us as original developers for Return to Castle Wolfenstein, but we're gonna get to that part later. Alright, so let's get to the second part, which is Cursed Sands PC port showcase. Let me... Alright. Alright, can you guys... I don't think you can see it, but... Alright, for some reason, even I can't see it. Hold on. Alright, you should see it now. Let me drag it up a little. Is it fine? Can you see the YouTube? Yeah, PC port. We're getting basically porting the console levels to PC. It's a prologue levels, the Egypt one. Alright. So let's see his progress. I'm gonna disable the music in the video because it's gonna get copyrighted. So we're just gonna use the mission soundtrack, original game. So, as you can see, Evgeny tried to restore the title screen from console versions, which is just awesome. So, as you can see, it's still pre-alpha, it's in the early development stages, because restoring decompiled levels can be quite difficult. It's not an easy task. So you can see the first level here. The lighting is not compiled, but the basic level structure is basically there. It just needs to be properly textured, and we need to obviously set up the lights and restore some scripts. Yeah, and this port is based on Tides 04 version, which is an Xbox version, which is superior to the PlayStation 2 one. Oh, here's the barrel, the killing barrel. In original port, it just falls down the stairs and kill the player instantly. It's just amazing. Yeah, there is some levels with proper lighting. The first one though. Is my voice alright? I mean, on the music too loud? Maybe my voice is too quiet. Tell me if it's alright. Lower music a little, alright. Lower it a little bit. Yeah, should be better. I think this is the second level, if I recall it correctly. So, because I played these prologue levels just maybe 2 times in my life, on PlayStation 2 and on Xbox. Samir, I missed the game. It's out there, just play it. You don't need to miss it. It's out there, it's still playable, and completely fine. Even the multiplayer part. Inner city or headquarters. So this is the second level, right? Yeah, it's the second one. Not the first one, certainly. Yeah, playing those levels on PC was like my dream for a long time. I mean, I can play the console since I got the Xbox 360, which is backward compatible with the original Xbox, but there's certain issues with the frames per second. Like, for example, on the first level, it can drop below 10 FPS, which is just not okay. This is the third or fourth level, maybe? I don't know. Quite untextured, but still, as I said, even the terrain, as you can see, is there, just like the basic level structure. So we get into the tombs slowly. I wish we had sources for those levels, but sadly, I asked around and it seems those levels were made by a completely different studio. I think it's called Free Wave Studios or something. Some really small studio consisting of maybe 3 or 4 people. So basically 4 guys just did this set of levels. And I asked one of them for maybe sources or something, but it seems they are lost. I mean, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It was 20 years or something. So it's the next level. You can actually see a proper compiled lighting here. Yeah, some of, as far as I know, these levels basically made from models. So we were able to extract the models and then convert them to brushes. This is just as far as I know. I don't work on this board, so I can't tell you the details. All I know is that it's really difficult. Because Xbox content is encrypted in very bizarre ways, and it includes some amount of reverse engineering and stuff. Yeah, guys, it's still work in progress, so a lot of untextured levels. But Evgeny made a lot of progress recently, since he was able to actually launch the Xbox port on emulator, which was not possible before. Port just crashed in emulator. You couldn't go beyond title screen. But now he actually was able to launch it, and he has some kind of references he could watch to restore the level. I think it's the 6th level, maybe. The lighting is almost there. I mean, you can see it's almost like a final look in some places. Can you tell us about the development of the console ports? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think both console. All right, we've finished. I think. Yeah, both console ports were made by different studio. If I recall correctly, PlayStation 2 version was made by Raster Productions or something, and the Xbox port was made by Nerve Software. It's the guys who made the multiplayer part of Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Alright, so we finished with the second part. I'm gonna put a link for this video in the description right now. Hold on. It's a description. Alright, you can also subscribe to Evgeny channel to track, to follow his progress on these ports. So, right, link is in the description, guys. Oh, Mike have some insights on that. We only helped us split up some maps. Oh yeah, I see, because the PlayStation 2 version has some maps splitted, like the village one and the forest one, if I recall it correctly. Due to hardware limitations, it just has to be done, I guess. Alright. So, are you guys ready for the next part, which is Castle Gothicstein? Gothicstein, how do I pronounce it? Sorry for my accent, by the way. It's pretty rough, I know. Alright, I'm gonna disable music. Right. So, Castle Gothicstein is basically a horror overhaul of original game, where we tried to improve. I mean, original game already has some horror elements, but we tried to apply this element on the whole game. Initially, it was planned as a Halloween event, but we got busy with our real lives and it didn't work out, so we're gonna delay that. All right, so let's watch a teaser. Right. Let's go. So here it is. It's a little teaser. We got a demo ready for you guys, so I'm gonna release it right now. Hold on. It's already uploaded on Steam, so... Ooh, that's the wrong one. All right. So we're gonna get to the workshop. So here it is. It's gonna go live right now. Yeah, it should be public right now. I'm gonna put the link in the description. So demo includes, I think, 5 levels. Hold on. Yeah, the link is there. So let's watch a couple. Let's take a look at a couple of screenshots. So as you can see, we completely got rid of all colors apart from the red one and black and white. It's a new weapon. The Holy Cross, which basically is the ultimate weapon to defeat the undead. What else? The Lysol carbine, also going to be featured in this mod. And of course, the double-barreled shotgun is also there. Yeah, so it's a horror overhaul of original game. You can check out the demo right now. Should be public, right? It's there. Give us your feedback because it will help us to shape the final version in the right direction. All right. So now we're done with that. All right. What's the purpose of this mod? Oh, by the way, it's basically visual changes, but also a lot of gameplay ones, because this mod includes advanced AI, really overhauled AI. Let me show you. Hold on. Oops. So as you can see, this mod is, apart from obvious visual changes and the sound changes, there's 4 new game modes. Basically, War, which is just a plays like vanilla game, or RealRTCW mod. So I don't know how to pronounce this, so sorry. It should be famine, I guess. Famine. Basically like vanilla, but with a lot less ammo and health. Pestilence, I guess. So this mod is my favorite one because in this mod you have a dagger of warding. As you can remember from original game, you take it from Alaric tomb. And we made this knife, we added the vampiric effect. So basically when you kill the enemy, you get more health. If you kill them in a bag, you get even more health. But the trick is your health is constantly decreasing and you can die. So you need to constantly knife your enemies. And the death, well, it's the most hardcore one. Basically, you don't have manual saves. And AI is just ruthless. So also each mode will feature different weapons and different enemies. So it's not just the difficulty levels. And all credits, of course, goes to original author, which is Aiden Demon. So give us your feedback and check out the demo. All right, let's wrap this up with the Gothicstein. All right. Let's get to the Victors. Yeah, Wolfenstein ET is coming soon. Hold on. Right, so let's watch some Victors trailer. So this is it. What do you guys think? So if anyone didn't knew, Victors is basically a massive mod which was in development since 2003, maybe. It's really massive. It's had some difficulties during development due exceeding various amount of various limits, engine limits. So there were a few engine changes, but recently I was able to port this mod on RealRTCW engine, and it's working fine. It's basically playable from start to the end, and it's gonna be released this year. From after all these years, it's going to be released this Christmas. So to prove you that it's actually playable and it's alive, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of gameplay. It's pre-recorded just to avoid any technical difficulties. But let's take a look at the gameplay. I'm gonna comment it anyway. This is one of my favorite missions, called Saint Anton's Church, where you spawn with no weapons, and you gotta do a little bit of stealth. It's a little bit too loud. Yeah. Fine now. No, I don't use the new renderer because it's quite buggy and really heavy on performance. So I'm gonna do... So to get my weapons I need to get to the officer apartment. Oops, fell down. Looks like you are empty. Yeah, because similar Eastern European aesthetics, as you can see. Because this mod is set in Ukraine during World War II. So we got an MP-40-34. Will you be removing weapons from base RealRTCW? No, I'm not. So we need a key to get to the basement. Because I played this level before, I knew what key located is in this apartment, but it's not really obvious. So a little secret within MP40. We got ourselves a key. Yeah, PPSH model from 452, I think. Yeah, looks really similar. Key is not very intuitive. Yeah, that's what I said. But I'm just... Oh, you can see a little bit untextured model over there. Yeah, but I just supported the original mod on my engine. I'm not doing the map design. Now we're in the sewers. I'm not doing the models, not doing the mapping. I basically just ported the mod as it is. Well, improved it a little bit. Sounds, the models, the map design is... Yeah, Joe, exactly. Yeah. Legendary knife animation. It's more or less the same. Spooky time. Yeah, the MP40 is not for everyone's taste. It reminds me of Medal of Honor sound effect. Allied Assault, Medal of Honor.
Fire!
So we are in some kind of dungeon, making our way to the church. Oop. Yeah, the sounds, as I said, is not for everyone's taste. I would have played original developer vision. Maybe there'll be a couple of sound packs on Steam Workshop, I don't know. Animation, it's amazing. Much improved.
Hey!
I don't think I changed. I changed everything because weirdly pineapple have a lower range than the German grenade. I just made them equal. So we are learning some Germans and then making our way to ambush us in the sewers. Yeah, I love the level design in this mod. Can hear you when the gunfire is happening. Alright, I'm gonna make it a little bit quieter. Yeah, that should be better. Sorry for that. Volume issues, guys. Oh, there's a secret I didn't knew about. I just noticed the breakable icon. Hello, please make support a part 2.0. Better than the F3 attack. Was the F3 the same this year? I don't remember. Like a metro gun. You mean the MP34? I think it's from Forgotten Hope 2 mod or Battlefield 2. It's gonna be a hardcore mod. Yeah, it is really hardcore, but I rebalanced it for the easy and medium difficulties, so it's playable. If you want a challenge, you can try the hard and death incarnate difficulties, or maybe realism difficulty. Power design top. To be honest, I would choose my model from RealRTCW mod over this, but I'm just porting them out to the other engine. And that's it. So we're getting to the end of the level, I think. And that's it. That's the gameplay of Victor's modification. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Hold on. For both trailer and gameplay video. Hold on. Now, I'm also gonna put a ModDB link for Victor's in the description. So what do you guys think overall on Victor's? About gameplay, about trailer, about release? I think ModDB is down. I can't open it. Alright, never mind. I'm gonna put it later. So links are there. You can check out the videos later in 2K or maybe 4K quality. So now, to the special guest interview. It seems I was planned to have only one guest, only one developer, but it seems we're gonna have two suddenly. All right, let me call him on Discord in a minute. Check,
Hello.
check. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going, Wolf?
It's fine. How are you?
Good, good.
So you're gonna add Jeremy in the chat here?
Yes, I'm going to right now.
Can you guys hear us? Is everything all right?
There we go.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm cool. It's Jeremy, right?
Yes, Jeremy. I don't hear Mike.
So, hold on. Can you guys hear us? Can you hear me, Jeremy, and Mike?
I can hear Wolf. I can hear myself. Oh, there's Mike. What's up?
Sorry. No, he's asking in his chat.
Cool. Oh, okay.
So yeah, it seems I'm gonna make myself a little bit louder. Hold on. Seems I'm a little quieter than you guys. So yeah, should be fine now. All right. So today we're having two developers, which I didn't expect. So can you guys introduce yourselves to the guy?
Yeah, sure. My name's Mike Denny. Let's see. I worked on Return to Castle Wolfenstein I joined Grey Matter in 1999 and helped ship that game. And along with Jeremy here, who's with us now.
Hey guys, my name is Jeremy Ludes, and worked with Mike on Wolfenstein, and it was it's cool that this thing is still going. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude. Finding out that it's 20th anniversary is like I was like shocked, to tell you the truth, when you reached out. I'm like, hey, it's 20th anniversary. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And like now knowing like what back in like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like thinking about it. Like I've been in the industry more than half my life. It was
yeah, it's crazy to think
amazing.
This game is 20 years old. Like I can't believe I'm that old. All right. So Mike, as I know, you were working on scripts and mapping, basically mission designs. And is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So Jeremy and I both did scripting for Return to Castle Wolfenstein. That was pretty much when
the first time.
Yeah, in my opinion, like the game industry, like there's 2015 was doing like script and what's called Sin, if you remember that game. They were doing like dedicated scripter roles, but most of the time that was a person who can do level design and script. Return to Castle Wolfenstein was the first time that I knew that where they had dedicated scripters, and that was basically low-level programming or high-level programming if you really talk about it. But and that's when I joined 99, and that's pretty much all I did. So what we'd do is we'd work with a level designer who would create the world geometry-wise, like brushes and whatnot, and then I'd go make it come to life with scripting. So.
All right, so
Yeah.
this was basically your first like I don't know, AAA job maybe. I don't know if it's applicable to the 2001, but your first big game, I think.
It was my first development game, actually. Before that, I was doing QA over at Activision, and I got really good at a game. My quick story here on that is I started at Activision and QA, got really good at Quake 3, got recognized that, hey, man, it sounds like you know how the engine works. Looks like this Wolfenstein team using the Quake 3 engine could maybe use your help. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And then, so I interviewed over there, bombed the interview, but was still all right in the interview, I guess, because they said they offered me a job, and I never looked back to publishing side again.
So were the other guys on the team newbies just like you? They were more experienced, like veterans or something?
That at the time when I joined, the majority of them had worked on previous titles. Most of them from the Quake engine. But then a year after I joined, Jeremy and I had worked in QA, and I actually asked Jeremy if he would want to interview with us as well, because we had another scripting position available.
All right. So what do you think was the most difficult map for you guys to make? Maybe not for you, for the whole team to create and script to make it work. What was the most difficult one?
For myself, it was probably, there's actually two missions that are pretty tough. But one being the first level I worked on, which was internally named Rocket, which you probably know of if you played the game a lot. And the other one was Assault, which is the airfield one.
Yeah, I read your remark in the Assault IE file, which basically said that it is a nightmare.
It was interesting
that plane
because
taking off.
that plane taking off and me not knowing vector math back then. And we didn't have vector math really inside of inside the script system, but it was all like using points and like connecting points, and then the plane would follow. But
and you did the guys parachuting down.
The parachuting, which was fun because
the moving geometry that was hidden.
Dude, everybody's like, you can't pull it off. You can't pull it off. I'm like, I can. And sure enough, I made an invisible clip for these guys to stand and idle with a parachute moving at the same rate as the invisible clip. And yeah, it worked out pretty well, I think.
So, Jeremy, what do you think was the most difficult map for you?
Yeah, I remember working on one of my first maps was a map called Norway, which was pretty challenging because we had to redo it so many times. So there was a lot of during this particular development, there was a lot of just make stuff, and if it's good, keep it, and if it's not good, don't keep it. And I remember during that process, especially being the first map for me, it was like I had to do this in like 2 or 3 times. It was like crazy. And like you work on it for months, it's like not good enough, cut, start over. And you're like, oh, okay. So that was pretty challenging to get my head around. And then I think that's the biggest one. There was some stealth stuff like later on, and some kind of like did a lot of cutscenes, which was pretty challenging. I think we did like 80% of the cutscenes within like a 3 or 4 day period. So that was a really interesting block as far as a challenge, is like getting it to feel right and be different and having like limited animations and stuff. So those would be the two that kind of stood out. I mean, probably something that was Mike and I were reminiscing about a little bit earlier was like the first time he brought me on and he completely changed my career and outlook for life and the possibility of my life by bringing me onto the team. And he opened up the editor, and I think it was like church, and there was like a bazillion entities and everything it basically looked like a brain nuclei in 3D. And back in those days you hadn't seen anything like that. And he's like, "Are you intimidated?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't even know where to start." So that would be some of the fun, initial stories. Just a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, by the way, what I like about Norway level you worked on, it's what you can complete it in 2 ways. Basically, you can stealth through the whole level without raising the alarm, or you can just gun blazing, kill everyone, and meet some additional enemies in a way. So I like this variation on the levels. It's not very often, but when it's there, it's cool.
It's twice as much work, right? It's twice as much work to make each section support action or stealth, and then actually have it have value to the player instead of it just being quiet or actiony, right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Also, I wanted to ask you before we gone too far away about the lead. I think he was game designer, maybe developer lead, Drew Markham. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, Drew Markham. Yep.
Yeah, he passed away recently, a few years ago. What can you say about him? What was he like? I mean, just a general question.
Like so this is, for me, it'd be like he was in a positive way, a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? Like he had like a knack for how to make things come to life, and he had these like subtleties, but had ramification effects to whatever you're working on. So it was always this like, basically what I'm saying is he had a really good eye to what makes a cinematic oriented game.
Yeah, for me, one of the biggest things I got from him, and I grew with Mike, he had like a background in film and television and voiceovers and stuff. So, when he came, he would do he literally did like almost every single voice of multiplayer, right? And for Kingpin and for Redneck Rampage and stuff. So when we would sit down and do stuff and try to make things, we would try to take things from like a functional, the level or the event or the feature is in. His ability to kind of look at it and go, take this 15% of that idea and raise it up, and that's what people will emotionally respond to, was extremely valuable. And the importance of bringing like pop culture and books and film into games so that people have references. Like, one of the first levels, Dr. Z, is based off of Young Frankenstein. It's Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein, right? And these were some of the big first lessons for me, learning about everything you do, try to bring in as many references from book and film and modern day happenings so that people have those little moments of like something about that's familiar, right? Go ahead.
Relatability, right?
Yeah,
like you want the user, player, viewer, whatever, to relate to the piece that you're working on.
Exactly. So yeah, he was pretty phenomenal, man. We were just talking about how lucky we were to be a part of this project, and that he was a leader on the game, and that he taught us so much that drove our careers.
Yeah,
very much so. All right. So, what is your personal favorite single player level in the game, and why?
Oh, okay. Thinking.
I'll start. So during this time when we were making stuff, one of the discoveries in single player was so many games up to this point were very kind of like Dr. Seuss active sentence level structure design, meaning there's a room, there's a space, there's a thing in front of you that you fight. And for me, the rocket facility was a really big level because Mike put in this thing where in the background there's this rocket test happening, and every 30 seconds or 60 seconds there would be this rumble, and you'd hear the rocket test happen, and it would change things. And that was for me one of the first things I saw being worked on, where the scripting idea of the world happening outside of your gameplay space. Now when you think of like all these other games, you can't walk 2 feet without having a bazillion things happening in the skybox and all of these kind of like side stories happening outside of your your core rectangle space. And that was one of the first big ones that taught me that lesson. Like, oh my God, there's this whole world of life happening with a game that's not there. So that was for me one of my certainly favorites to see to be worked on and to see come alive.
What I also like about the rocket level is the alternative way you can go through the level. You can use the crane that will lower you on a little cart, so you can basically sneak your way into the control room. I didn't knew about this. I mean, for years. I just discovered it maybe 4 years ago. It's just not that obvious, but really cool detail.
That was the last thing I added, like feature-wise, to that level, because I remember I wanted it so bad, because that was one of the initial like ideas that where I work now, we call the builder the geo guy who does the geo, so the geo guy. So the builder at the time, Mal, he's like, I really want the player to be able to sneak through this way or go a long way. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. It was the last feature I actually got to support, because I had to put clip brushes that could disappear when it got hot or went hot. But more importantly, was the conveyor, or was the cable itself, because the cable back then, it wasn't just one long, extended brush that went through the ceiling. It actually was like I think 16 cut up brushes that would essentially come out of the crane, apparatus there, and lower down the whole vehicle, the object in it that you're in. But anyways, that one took a lot of time to get right. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Rocket was fun. That was probably I think that was the first map I worked on. But my favorite would probably be, let's see here. It's either Church or Assault. Assault mainly because
Church is great.
I'm into airplanes, essentially, but especially World War II planes. But and there's a lot of love put into the parachute ones. I saw somebody in chat saying, like, I just realized you could shoot the parachuters. Not only can you shoot the parachuters, but you can also shoot the parachutes themselves, which was a nice little touch that I was able to add.
Yeah, I didn't knew that I was able to shoot the parachutes. I was shooting the paratroopers, but that was an easier way to do this.
Yeah, and then which was good, because they came in with FG42s, and they'd own your face pretty hard. So if you were able to get them down in the sky, it would make your life a lot easier, which is cool. Cost versus pay type scenario. But yeah.
Yeah, that's where a lot of those things were, at least for us, were kind of like being discovered and being pushed, where we wanted to get away from just like core stuff. And, Mike is extremely technical, so he could always pull off little extra like side features and additions or pieces, or even like with Church, when he put in like this, lightning thing. When we look at stuff today, it's so pedantic, you just expect it. But back in those days, it wasn't there. But he put in like this amazing electrical system that ran on the outside of the castle and the windows and everything. And it was just those things. It's kind of like giving the heartbeat and the life to design and levels that people respond to.
Yeah, actually, not thinking about it. The crypt levels, if you remember those ones were fun, because I got scared making them. So because when you play, you always play your level over and over and over. And I remember obviously we're I don't know, we were at work way too much, but when we'd play it, I remember just like jumping, almost jump scaring myself a few times, just because like the timing, you just put these subtleties in there where just off time the trigger, and for when a guy would come out of the wall. So like, Kool-Aid fashion, Kool-Aid man style. And yeah, just jump scare myself. It was a lot of fun.
All right, so I wanted to ask about issues in level design. So
sure.
Both fights in Return to Castle Wolfenstein are generally labeled by community as flawed. Well, for example, the Uber Soldat fight is basically the only way to complete it is to cheese AI with bulletproof glass. Other way you will just die instantly. And the Heinrich boss fight, it's basically just underwhelming for the final level. It's just maybe too easy.
Yeah.
So in the hindsight, what would you changed about the boss fight in this game?
Let's see. The Heinrich one, that was Chad, right? Mainly.
Yep.
There was a clever way about that one though, if I remember correctly. Or am I thinking about a different fight? But basically, I think the main thing is always having a rock scissors paper like action towards it, and you always want like whatever you choose, he can counter, and whatever he chooses, you can counter. And I don't think we ever had that established. And what we mainly came down to was like a line of, like what you guys are talking about, a line of sight trickery, because that was the only thing we had at that time. I remember there was the main thing with the we were sold at was, I think we wanted you to use explosives against it, and so lure him over to explosives. And I think that worked okay. It wasn't taught very well, but it was that was the intent. If I were to change it, I'd probably give him like a better repeated, something that you can learn, a repeating beat that he would do, that you can counter.
I mean, in case of Uber Soldier, I think many players told me that boss fight in the dark level where you fight two Uber Soldat is much better. Between you have a bigger arena to fight them, to maneuver, like evade their attacks, and in the X Labs in a boss 2 level you didn't have that much space. You just have to basically hide behind the glass to survive. So I think it could be improved with a little bit bigger arena, maybe a little bit more covers.
Yep.
Because it's
I remember winning against the super soldats not using the glass area. The glass was definitely in there to help, but you could, if I remember correctly, the pillars were pretty darn thick. So because our AIA, and this is pretty much every single player game since, or maybe almost every single player games, they don't care about your capsule, they care about your eyeball, making sure you can see them. As long as your eye can see them, then they'll shoot you. So they didn't care about shooting at your capsule so much. So I think if you were able to hide behind a pillar, then you'd be okay. But then he would chase you down, and like he'd get in line of sight, and you'd have to run away, which is the cat and mouse stuff we did want to have in that level.
Time is a big thing too with boss fights, and that's mainly the context of they were done very hastily and quickly, comparative to a lot of the other things. So the prototyping, getting them up and working, and testing them and getting them through was a bit of a challenge because of our style and process for doing stuff, which we basically cut a lot of things. So when as time would go on, we would try 1 or 2 things, and then it would get cut. And then essentially near the end, we're like, look, we got to finish these pretty quickly and get them in there. And hopefully, so I think if I were to make an addition to that, it would be to plan for the boss fights sooner, and to have a better commitment to get them playing better sooner, or at least in phases. Like, phase 1 of dev, get something in there feeling kind of basic. Phase 2 of dev, add like 1 layer of depth to it, and then by the 3rd be like, all right, this is where we're at. We at least have 2 layers of depth in the core gameplay. And I think that if we had more time and plotted to get them done a little bit sooner and earlier, that certainly would have helped up. And I remember even at one point when we went to E3, we saw the actual CG trailer for Wolfenstein, and we were working on the game, and we didn't even know at that time about these big boss fights. We're like, what are these guys with like swords and shields and all this stuff? We're like, we thought it was just like World War II. So there's some communication things where we're the grunts in there making stuff, and the discoveries of those things, of like when the boss fights come online and stuff. So yeah, time and getting earlier versions up and working would certainly be my feedback into that loop.
All right, so I want to know, and I think all the community want to know, who scripted the stealth levels, like the forest one and the village 2 one? Who designed this? Because they just give
it to me.
I mean, they aged not very well. I mean, maybe they were fine in 2001, but now...
Oh no! I played it recently. I played Return to Castle Wolfenstein like 6 months ago, and the only issue really is the distance, right? I mean, obviously terrain doesn't hold up at all, and a lot of visuals don't hold up, but the core mechanics hold up very well. What it was trying to do and what it still can do.
Well,
but yeah.
I don't have any issues with them myself because I played this game like 100 times maybe, but as I saw many new players just struggling with it to the point where they will drop the game completely on the forest level, it's just too hard for
You
them.
are not wrong in that regard. It is a very tough level because what gamers have, what I think the gaming industry has done to gamers is let them be less clever, or make it too much on the nose. Let's put it that way. I think is like, so you really have to understand some mechanics, and not be told what the mechanics are in order to get everything out of that level.
And that was a fun, those are fun experiences to go through because we were trying to balance. I'm in the room next to this guy and I've shot my gun, right?
Oh yeah.
And we were trying to fight the realism of like, okay, well, if I shoot my gun and I'm in the room next to him, that should alert the next, AI. And we had this amazing programmer who still works on COD named Ryan Felter, and special nod to him. And he created all these amazing states. I mean, we had crazy complex AI states for Wolfenstein, right? When you play, you may think the guy's just going left and right, but there were like 4 different versions of listening, 4 different versions of looking for people, 6 different versions of what to do once they find people, 5 different versions of what they would do if they couldn't find people, and then going back to a patrol state. So we had all this complex stuff, but I think partially too what people feel is when you play the game, it's either people see you or they don't. So we were always struggling between, well, I'm next to this room and this map is really small and I don't have enough space, but I've shot this machine gun with a big firefight and the AI are in the next room to them. So that the AI state's going to activate them and they're going to know you there. And then what would happen is sometimes you would kind of get these bleeding into each other events of things being active and you're not getting enough time to reset. So kind of looking back at this, definitely giving the player more time and space in between activation zones. But they were certainly challenging and it was fun to do the like music and trying to create different moments. But yeah, it's good stuff. Stealth is not easy.
Stealth is in any game is not easy. It's always a challenge, and to play to the player's expectations, it's a challenge.
All right, there's a couple of questions in the chat, if you don't mind.
Cool.
So
yeah, go for it.
Many people asking about if you follow the speedrun scene, if you learned any crazy exploits on the levels you made.
I've not seen the speedruns for several years now. I'd have to go look at them. Definitely send me a link for them because I'll take a look at it.
Absolutely.
That stuff's fun. I used to speedrun Soldier Fortune because I was QA on it, and I remember I saw somebody doing the trick that I did in QA, where you hop on like a guy who dropped off like in a sewer area and dropped on his head to get up to another area. That's basically backtrack route. So, anyways, sorry.
Have you guys seen the VR remake of Return to Castle Wolfenstein?
I saw a little bit of it. It looked really cool.
I need it. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. It looked really cool. Yeah.
I played it on my Quest 2 and it's just amazing. A little bit issued with the scale because the scale issues where the NPCs are a little bit smaller than the geometry is. They are really visible in VR, but thankfully there's like height slider where you can regulate your camera height.
The movement's so fast in Wolfenstein. Did they slow down the movement speed? No, they did not. I'm watching the video right now. It's interesting. Yeah, because we had that squashed metrics, right, where everything was squashed and wide.
Kind of like stout and like strong looking. The hold on. So I've done some kind of like VR work on the side and worked on converting maps and stuff, and it's there's certainly a good 30 to 40% difference you have to actually change in the geo just if you're just doing a straight conversion. And a lot of that has to do with like the distance it takes. Once you change that FOV and you get that full difference in VR, just the distance of walking 10 to 15 feet, everything changes in like the size and scales of things. So if you're doing just a one-to-one conversion, it's cool, but there's certainly going to be things that either feel like you're moving through the map too fast or it's too long, or objects and size of things are going to be real. There's definitely like a learning curve to doing conversion of maps to VR for sure.
All right, so let's get to the cut content questions, if you don't mind. So In one of the pre-release magazine articles I found on the internet, there was a description of the Cut Beach assault level, where BJ basically is storming a German fortress with his allies to capture the Enigma machine. Can you tell us more insights on this level and why it was scrapped in the end?
So, I don't remember this level a whole lot, but I asked a coworker, Rich, about it, and he mentions that we couldn't find any good ways to fit the beach into the story of the game. So we scrapped it and converted it into a multiplayer map. But if I remember correctly, Jeremy actually scripted the beach SP version of that level for a little bit before we scrapped it, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it turned into the MP stuff, right? Which had the different layers and the different objectives for each thing. Special nod out to Rich Farley. And honestly, just to take a quick moment here, special nod to all the people who worked on Wolfenstein.
Oh yeah.
Let us represent them in this opportunity to speak to the fans and say that they were all amazing people, and we're lucky to have worked with all of them. And it was a real special time to work on this game with them,
continue to work with them
and continue to work with them, and those guys are just like amazing. Yeah, MP Beach. So basically, that thing got cut, and I think we got to the point of like building it and scripting it to the point of like running and jumping over the wall and destroying it, moving forward. And then, as soon as the MP stuff started to come online, there was also our first lessons of when you have content that you're working on and you begin to cut it, don't let it go, just turn it into the next thing. So that was a great example of turning that around and putting it into that. Mike?
Yeah, MP Beach map turned out to be the most favorite one by the community. I mean, it's really legendary. So it's based on the single player level, right?
Yep.
It was actually almost verbatim. I think they added the bunker portions, right?
Yep. And I know that there was a big push of like, we want to make it feel like, World War II, right? What was really well pulled off in like the Medal of Honor stuff, the first PC ones, the even console. And it that's where we started to discover that Wolfenstein had its own identity. I know that we all internally wanted to work on like a hardcore kind of like military shooter, and then what we discovered and we embraced was this beautiful like fantasy thing. And I think one of our biggest influences in early on was Hellboy, right? Like kind of like it was World War II but fantasy, but sci-fi, but kind of like demons and things, and that really helped create its own identity. And once that opened up, then it just changed the single player. And getting back to your point in question, it changed the focus of trying to make like the D-Day beach scene into more of a more open feel. And then it just, once multiplayer got a hold of it, everything changed. Do you remember when multiplayer demo first came out? And it was like, it was phenomenal. Like everybody was playing it. Like it really gave us wind underneath our wings as a title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, the MP Beach was actually remade by the community as single-player map.
Oh, they did?
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take a note. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out.
So it's basically, in the beginning, you have to stealth your way into the base, then I think steal the documents, and then your allies will show up and help you. So you will help them from inside the fortress while they're storming on the beach. So it's a bit different from original idea, but still.
The Enigma machine, right? That's so cool.
So another question about the cut content is training level, because in the game archives I found the text documents hinting the existence of extensive training level. Their player just learn how to shoot, how to move and jump. Does this level existed, or why it was scrapped? It was just the text documents which were ready.
Yeah, I don't think we ever made it, because even when I joined, I don't remember seeing it. But I also reached out to Rich about it, and he mentioned that at the end of the day, they felt like it wasn't needed, so they didn't continue with it.
And time.
Well, obviously, at time, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of times when you see this, like because I think kind of the point is like, why does something exist, and then why does it disappear? And a lot of times it's just time and scope, right? You start to learn like, okay, look, we'd love to make this amazing training level, but the truth of it is Mike scripted that first level where you're starting off and you're looking above, and then you drop down and you knock out the guy and you got the knife and you encounter Dr. Z, and you're going through, and it's like the doctor, and it's like it's just time. So you just learn how to, like, a lot of times you just put the kind of training into whatever the first level is. So instead of, the player landing on the ground and knocking out the guy and starting off with one particular gun, you give it another, and then you just put on text in the screen. So a lot of tutorial levels have like good intentions, but a lot of times they don't come on until like the end, because also when you get to the end of the game, you actually have all of your features and everything in the game that you
say the same thing.
Yeah, you don't have everything. So you start this amazing level, and then you build out all the stuff, and then you're ready to go. And then 8 months later, 4 of the core features of the game change. You're like, oh, well, so it's kind of like timing out, when's the best time to build stuff, and then what do people need and what do you need to get across with them. So good intentions are always there.
All right, so do you guys have any insights on the cut enemies? Like on pre-release screenshots, I saw various enemies like Nazi ninja thing with Japanese insignias.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Maybe like there was also a Steam Soldier reference, like flying Uber Soldier or something. That's what I get from the code. And so do you have any info on cut enemies?
I've never seen any flying enemies in our game.
I remember the ninja.
I remember the ninja one.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to scope again and memory, because how the animation system works in Return to Castle Wolfenstein and Quake 3 for the most part is not the most ideal, because everything had to be loaded no matter what.
Right. So we were limited on just total enemies.
Yeah, basically variants of enemies was very limited. So I think the let's call him the ninja guy. I don't even know. I don't remember his official name. I think he was cut actually pretty early on because we didn't have the capabilities to fully flesh him out and make him exist in the game properly.
All right, he referred as Frogman in the code, by the way.
A Frogman. Did he have? Interesting. Did he have? That's okay.
Yeah. So all right. So in the early E3 demos, I saw the game was much closer to original Wolfenstein 3D in terms of level design, general art direction, maybe gameplay mechanics. For example, there was no reload system, it was just ammo count. The weapons were more centered, just like in older ID Software games. Was it the original direction, and why it was changed in favor of more realistic design we got in a release version?
So I actually have, when I joined Grey Matter at the time, it was after that decision had already been made, and I actually didn't play that version. I played when I was Activision, I played a pre-release build of it. It was more of the version what we released, where he had reload system and whatnot. But I did ask Rich about this because he's an OG Grey Matter personnel, and he said that they shifted to the reload system in like what we released with and changed the art and whatnot because of all the Quake 3 features. So I think what ended up happening, they started in maybe super early version of Quake 3, or maybe even before Quake 3, and then they shifted over to Quake 3.
All right. So if you guys were offered to work on remake of Return to Castle Wolfenstein and completely new engine, I don't know, Unreal or something, do you think, would you agree in the first place? And do you think Return to Castle Wolfenstein really needs a remake? Because I explain, level design was really shaped by the Quake 3 engine in many different places, and you probably need to reimagine levels from scratch. You can't just take the old layouts and put them on a new engine. You need to reimagine it, extend it, expand it. So do you think? So would you agree? Do you think game really needs it? Do you think that would be an easy task?
Last question first. No, it would not be an easy task.
Nothing in video games is easy.
We'll just start with that. Making video games is the most
it's the Wild West of
challenging and gratifying piece of art you could put your hands on, in my opinion.
There is no path. It's just get there.
But anyways, going back to then the first question, whereas, hey, do you think it needs to be remade? I do not think it should be remade, mainly because it is locked in this time capsule that I don't think should ever be open, and everybody should enjoy it at its original roots. Because once you change it, remaster it, reimagine it, whatever the case is, you're gonna lose those original nostalgic memories, and it will never be the same. And so if you're going to go and try to captivate that same thing, and that's why I think the previous, or the Wolfenstein that came after it, didn't try to remake that. There's maybe some call outs
Exactly.
to it, but they didn't remake it. They were like, okay, cool, that was that version. Just like
That was such a fun game.
Just like we didn't make Wolfenstein 3D again. You know, we didn't. We wanted to make our own. Call it flavor, call it taste, call it like, but the spirit of Wolfenstein was still in the game. So I think that's what should happen and continue to happen.
Yeah, I think Mike really touched upon something there. One, I agree with the whole making games is basically total Wild West. Who knows if every single game is its own Rubik's Cube with fourth dimensional pieces interacting with the Rubik's Cube that you have no idea what they are until they actually land in front of you. And then you're with, Apollo 13. That was one of the big Apollo 13 and Happy Gilmore were the two movies that we just replayed. We were in the same room. Yeah. I think they called it like the college room or the fair room, and literally with a TV behind us, and we just had Apollo 13 and Happy Gilmore just repeating all day long, just like that. And every time we were working to solve a problem, we're like, Apollo 13, what do they do? We need to get inspired to solve this problem. But to the second point of what Mike brought up, and that is, if people are interested in like doing things or recreating things, he mentioned the spirit, and I think that's a really important thing to grab is play it and feel it, and then create your own interpretation of what you think that feeling is today, and then use your voice. But part of things that are remade, it's cool, and it's a great like honor and mention, and it's cool for experience, but the world needs to hear today's video game developers' voices. And the only way we're going to get to hear these new people's voices is when they take the past and reinterpret it and add their own vision of what they think it should be. Capture the spirit, get that vibe, remember those emotions that you felt when that game created them for you, right? And then you, in your own way, to go, hey, this is our new version of what we thought Village was, or Rocket, or Assault, with the paratroopers dropping down. This is our version of it, and then pay a little homage to it. Do like a little nod. I think in one of one of the levels we did, we loved all the cowbell stuff, like the cowbell skit, right? Right, and we loved it so much that we put a big cow with a cowbell into it in a lot of levels and kind of made it secret, and that was like later on, and so and that was like kind of hidden, and it was really difficult for people to see, but like it's important for the people today to infuse their own vision of their interpretation of the past. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the future's vision of what that is and what they think, because that's the next generation.
Damn, that's really amazing answer. I really actually rethinked my take on remake. All right, so
can I throw a little wrench in that whole thing? Because when I was watching the Victors trailer just now, and the
it was cool. It was really cool.
All those, by the way, all those projects are great. I loved everything you guys are doing for Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Just amazing.
I think it's super good to do that just for your own sake and for modding and keep the community alive. Yep. But the one thing that I thought of when we were watching the Victors more so, well, it doesn't really matter, but like I kept thinking like what would that look like in a real scale level? So like a 1-to-1, slow down the player a lot, like a real life version, but like take out realism out of that whole equation, but from a real life scale world, how would that feel? Which is tough to pull off. Don't get me wrong. It's super tough to slow down the player, make a door that's not 5 feet wide, all that stuff. It's tough to do and make it feel good. But I wonder how it would feel is my question.
Yeah, by the way, most of the Victor's levels, I think, were based on the real life locations. So basically, developers took the photos, some references, and
Beautiful.
just remade the levels from scratch and referenced the real life locations. And thank you guys for your praise, and it's really cool to hear it
It's awesome.
from original developers of our favorite game.
We're fans of you guys just like you're fans of us. And the only thing that's going to make the gaming community better is if we all support each other. So, you know, when we're like on teams, one of our philosophies is that everybody on the team is a designer first, and then they go off and do different disciplines, right? Like you might be a coder, but you're a designer first. You might be a sound guy, but you're a designer first. And we just had that mentality early on that everyone is a designer, and these voices that need to be heard and back and forth are just so important. So you guys inspire us. It goes back and forth, and nothing happens without everybody. People making it, the people supporting it, the whole thing. It's a group effort. Go ahead.
Something I echo at work all the time is I don't care who you are. We all contribute to the same thing. And if you want to go ahead and write your own, like you want to write something in code or script or something, do it. Like nobody should be ever be like locked into their box as, especially if they have a great idea. And so by all means, like the community, same result. Like if you have questions, you want to throw something at our way, feel free to. I don't know if you're going to put our Twitter accounts or anything. Obviously I don't work at Gray Matter anymore. We got merged with Treyarch way back in the day, but I'm definitely active on Twitter somewhat. But yeah, for sure, reach out and I'll give you my opinion, or if you just want some feedback on something, or hey, just take a look at this video and share with your company or whatever. I don't care. Go for it.
The commitment is making the industry better for the next generation, and leaving something behind that pushes like humanity forward by giving them a space to play things and feel good and have a release, right? So that's the ultimate commitment and goal, and nothing happens without all of us, so it's a team effort across the board, and everybody who participates to dev. A lot of times we'll hear people say like, oh, I just play games or just and this can I dev? It's like, dude, if you have money to spend on a game and you have an opinion of what you've played for the last 15 years of what you like and don't like, you can dev. You got it. You can do it. And the world deserves to hear your voice. Go for it.
And that's really inspiring. All right. So now the question I wanted to ask, did you guys play the sequel to Return to Castle Wolfenstein from Raven Software? I mean, it's Wolfenstein 2009, I think. How do you think it compares to your take on Wolfenstein?
You want to give the backstory about
I wouldn't mind.
Go for it.
Mike?
No, go for it.
Well, Mike was there more for me. I came on a little bit later. With the grace of Mike's affordance to me. But when I had gotten in there, it was pretty much like, look, there was a competition who was going to make the Wolfenstein, and Gray Matter made a prototype, and Raven made a prototype, and this is another nod to Drew Markham's genius. He basically was able to make it feel better. And Sherman Archibald, like the code, there's so many great people on this product. Nods to all of them. And Gray Matter actually won, making a better prototype and winning the contract to actually make Wolfenstein. So the second, kind of getting to the second one that Raven made, I thought they did a lot of great things with it, and it was great to see just the franchise go forward and move forward, and that the latest like 1961s and the Raven version, they each have great things about it that are really cool and do a lot of things. And look, dude, Raven's been around forever. They're amazing. They're some of our closest friends that we know for 20 years making games. So it's kind of like we're all in the same. We're all in the same family. So for me, I was so excited to see these guys finally get the chance to do it and make their version of it and see the vision that they like. So, another Wolfenstein, sure, make it great. Have your own voice, Mike.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. I think what they did is they took something, and it looks like when I played it, it felt like they were really taking a lot towards Return to Castle Wolfenstein, but then putting their own flair on it. Like it looks like they gave a lot of respect to what we did with Return to Castle Wolfenstein and just kept pushing on the other bounds, if you will. So I think they did a good job overall, and they kept a lot of the similarities there. I guess that, basically they kept the spirit alive.
I think they also used a lot of cut content from Return to Castle Wolfenstein, because there is an ninja enemy, which is basically assassin, which goes invisible, and the flying steam soldiers, they in the code, so they took that too and put it in their version of Wolfenstein. So it's great, really great.
Yeah.
So
anything to keep it alive, right? Anything to keep it alive. It's such a good franchise, keep it going.
Yeah, my only regret is that Wolfenstein 2009 never got a proper modding tools, an SDK or something. I think it was because of the issues with the copyrights, because at the time game was transferred to, the franchise was transferred to ZeniMax from Activision, and I think they just dropped the Wolfenstein support. They were just forced to do that. So that's just a shame for us as a mod community.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to release tools in general to the mod community, or to the community in general, because it's to make it worthwhile and not have all these like developer, let's call them tricks or hacks, depending on your terminology. But it's hard to keep that or ship that out to people to use, because it might not be the best approach. That makes sense.
But, speaking of the modding tool stuff, it's, if you want to get into dev, some of the best people in the industry are the people who come home from their normal job and on the weekends, and they grab whatever mod tools exist.
Yep.
And they have access, and they start making stuff. And some of the greatest hires still doing stuff with all the people we've interacted with either came from QA or came from modding. So I think it's really important for everyone listening or whatever is involved, that finding any tool and making stuff. And of course, with Unreal now, it's just like a free for all. Just get out there and start doing stuff and making stuff. Or if you have a game that you like, just like Mike was saying, like anybody on the team can go just make stuff, and you need to make sure that you maintain that freedom and that open perspective. You like a game, first thing people do when they come to us and they'll be like, well, what should I do? I was like, well, what's your favorite game? Are there mods? Go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Just go and make your dream come true. Just start making stuff. And when you make stuff, it's just a Matthew principle, right? You're just going to get better and feel more confident and move forward and do something bigger and better. So use everything that's out there and fulfill your dream. If you got an itch, scratch it.
Yep.
All right. So do you guys still work in the game industry? And if you are, where? If it's not a secret.
Mine is not a secret. I work at Infinity Ward making Call of Duty. I've been working on Call of Duty. So Grey Matter got merged into Treyarch. Let's go back to Grey Matter worked on the Return to Castle Wolfenstein. We made a new IP called Trinity, which got canned.
Yeah.
Right when we turned alpha, by the way, which was really disheartening.
Which was a New Orleans game. That was fun.
Yeah. Which then we got the chance to work on the very first, back then it was called expansion packs, not DLC content. It was called Call of Duty United Offensive. That was our first Call of Duty game.
That's when we made our first multiplayer map together, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. First multiplayer.
We love Dave Defeat. So we would just make multiplayer maps on our side time, and then they would just take it and turn it into DLC.
Yeah, it was fun.
When it was free, back when DLC was free.
And then we got merged with Treyarch. We did Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1, Call of Duty 3, World at War. I left Treyarch, went to id Software for 8 months. Unfortunately, Texas and my family were not seeing eye to eye. And then I went to Infinity Ward. So.
Yeah, and Mike's still active in the AAA world. I am not. I left and took a break and worked on some personal projects. And for the last couple of years, I've been working on projects to get funding, and got supremely close with one particular idea. So that's been like a different avenue and space of working on things, and I do like a lot of consulting for different projects and teams and stuff right now. So definitely still involved in games, but not at the same level that Mike is right now. So yep, there we go.
By the way, United Offensive is I think it's better than the main game. I just love the scripting decisions, the levels, especially I think the Italy one and the Bomber one.
Oh,
I'm like,
Oh yeah, that fad.
Thad.
That's
Those are
her.
both Thads. Yeah, Thad's
Yeah,
a coworker. It's I'm not sure where he's at right now, but
he's at the
he's good. He's
new.
a good designer.
Yeah, he's great. Those levels were huge. That B-17 mission he built was amazing, and the scripting he put in there for the complexity of the planes and the
Mhm.
flow. That was a really big first rail level that really like people could play and not be like, oh my god, a rail level. It was like, no, this is great. And the complex system he put in for the damage states for
Yep.
all the airplanes and the breaking apart, and he really
Yeah, that was cool.
he really did, yeah, United Offensive, that was something really big for us because we had worked on, this other game, and it didn't, like you said, Mike, Trinity, and we were just like, and United Offensive, we finally got our chops at, hey, we want to make a military shooter. And yeah, dude, that's great that people still are fond of that game. That was a really
yeah, and
that
that
was a really good game.
B-17 level, I couldn't even imagine that was a Quake-free engine. All those scripts
Yeah.
and all these planes exploding, just I can't believe it's using Quake-free engine.
It's so the one thing that's cool about what Infinity Ward did was they took the Quake 3 engine and wrote their own scripting language. It's nothing like the Return to Castle Wolfenstein scripting language. It's
Yep.
pretty much a interpreted typeless C language, and I highly recommend getting your hands on it if you have not messed with it, especially if you love Return to Castle Wolfenstein, because not especially for that, but it's basically because it's from Quake 3. And
Yeah.
COD 4 tools still exist today that you can go and mess with it. We call it GSC, game script.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with
GSC.
it because I get my hands on Black Ops 3 mod tools.
Yeah.
It's quite awesome. It's really powerful. It's like the Radiant, like Quake 3 Radiant on steroids or something. It's
Yeah.
that. And yeah,
with that scripting language, you can basically create anything. Like it's really powerful.
Which changed the industry, right? Because then to get features and to get prototyping into games, for what happened is instead of sending something over to code and waiting, and we also, so there were a couple of different things from a first person shooter genre defining change that the entire, all of these different things created, and it gave us versatility and iteration. So everything's about iteration and speed, and the team who does more iteration will get the quality product. So if you're locked into these positions where you have to send art out and they need to spend 6 months to make a level and bring it back to you, you're losing 6 months of making changes to that level.
Yeah.
Same thing with code. So, as scripters, the power that we had was we could go in and build and change anything instantaneously, and we could block out any kind of functionality and features that we needed immediately, and we could just get stuff in immediately and start tweaking it. And it changed our ability to get to higher quality content sooner and faster, and to make cuts sooner and faster, where we were just never limited by anything except our own ability to make stuff fast. And when you put that kind of power in the hands of devs, it changes the end quality product.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because in Return to Castle Wolfenstein, I was modding it. There's a lot of stuff coded in the engine. So if you want to, let's say, change the damage of the gun, you need to recompile the DLL file. But in, for example, Black Ops 3 mod tools, if you want to add new enemy, you want to change the gun behavior, you just do it in a script. You don't need to recompile the whole game to do that. So it was really a smart decision to put everything outside the core engine. It's just really good decision.
That's one of the golden fleeces of the industry, is whoever gets the most iterations and what teams have the most access to the stuff, you're going to make faster stuff, and you just make better games. And that's great. If everyone's doing that, then it makes it faster,
Yeah,
so
iteration is king to development.
It's everything. If you can get 100 changes in versus 30, how much better is that idea going to be? And if you can get it sooner and not have to wait 4 months for somebody to make it, it's like, dude, and we've heard about that stuff. And the world we come from is only that world. So I can't imagine actually being on the dev side of games and going, well, I have to wait 6 months for something to come back to tweak it. or 3 months or 4 weeks. Like what?
Yeah.
Get going, get making. Don't be limited. Period.
All right, so we slowly moving on to our sixth part of the stream, and I wanted to ask you guys to stay for the final part where we will showcase and release the Enemy Territory single player campaign. By the way, did you ever play the Enemy Territory expansion, multiplayer only, made by Splash Damage?
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was just talking to those guys last week. We're still close with them, and we had a really good relationship with a lot of those guys still, and they're all still at Splash Damage. And special nod out to Splash Damage for being around for so long and still hanging in there and making great games. So they are still around and still making great games.
All right, so I'm gonna show the trailer now, so I'll ask you just to hang around, and I'm gonna ask you your opinion afterwards.
Yeah, let's check it out. Trailers.
So let's go.
Look at the size of that gun. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's it. What do you guys
That's
think?
great. That looks great.
That was terrific. I mean,
yeah, that's a lot of work.
I was gonna say, like,
God.
that was a ton of work.
Yeah, all I could think about was the hours of time. Like, wow.
Okay, how modified is that exe? Curious.
Basically, this mod is based on RealRTCW engine, which I modified to include exclusive weapons, enemies, and stuff. But it's quite modified.
I mean, for
It looks
example, like
amazing.
we didn't have spawners for AI. We had static 64 max per level, no matter what. It could not get any more or less AI in one level, period. So that seemed like that was changed.
I increased the limit to
you increased the limit.
I doubled it.
Ah,
And I
okay.
think spawners, I think they made through some scripting decisions. I'm not very familiar with scripting because I mainly do in the engine stuff, but I think it's done through scripting. But limit was definitely increased. That's true.
Yeah, something that would go a long way is to make it an actual spawner.
That was when it was
instead
1024 max too, right? The end max was 1024.
Well, yeah, back then it was the entity limit was 1024, but our spawner limit was 64. So we couldn't have any more than 64 AI live or dead, or not spawned yet in a level. So if you hadn't already done an actual spawning system for AI, you should do that, because then essentially you should have infinite AI is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That
looks amazing,
we
man.
have infinite AI technically, but it's like 32 max on screen at one time.
I love it. It looks amazing, and the trailer is great. The music is great. The editing is good. Seriously, like the scenes and the awesome. So cool.
This was made by 2 people, by the way. Basically me doing
doing
the engine stuff, and William is here, by the way. He was doing all the mapping, all the design stuff. So maybe maybe even by 1 man, because I only touched the engine.
You guys are making Wolfenstein with 90% less than people than we had. That's awesome.
We had 17, 15, 18.
Something like that. Crazy. Yeah. Like almost bare. I remember when we went to Vegas for the reward, it was like, now when COD goes or whatever, it's like hundreds of people. It was like literally like 10 people. It was like, this is great.
Yeah,
and we went for like 5 or 6 days or something. It was crazy. That is so awesome, you guys.
Good job,
that is so great.
That's great.
Thank you, guys.
It's so great. Seriously.
When is it supposed to come out? The end of this month, right?
Yeah,
I think
it's on Steam. I'm going to bookmark it right now.
It should be live right now, I think. Let me check that.
Oh, I'm going to have to get that. That's so awesome.
It's live. It's on Steam Workshop and also on ModDB. So there's 2 versions, basically Steam and no Steam. Whatever you're comfortable with. So, all right. So do you guys have any closing words, any general advice to maybe us as a modders, something as a closing words to this stream?
I mean, the only thing I'd say is keep on going, man. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are keeping the spirit alive and Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And if you're looking to break into industry, just keep plugging away at this. And because I interview like every designer that comes into our studio, and the main thing that I would advocate if you're looking to get in industry is just make sure your portfolio is strong. If you're not inspired by your own portfolio, then you need to get it to that stage where you are inspired by your portfolio, because your portfolio is going to speak more than the interview itself. That'd be my closing stuff.
Okay, that's awesome, dude. I think that what I would add to it is 2 things. Why not you? And the world deserves to hear your version of video games. Go make them. Why not you?
That's really moving.
There we go.
And inspiring. All right, guys, it was really an honor to have the original developers.
We're honored to be doing this with you guys. The honor is ours, man. Seriously, we are privileged. We are privileged to be part of this, that you're doing your thing. So thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Seriously.
So that was the developers of original game. Again, thank you guys for coming. And I don't know, see ya. I guess I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right, yeah, guys.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
So that was it. That was the original developers of Wolfenstein. I think that's it. We showed everything. I think Wolfenstein. So let's get over the stream right now. So the Castle Gothicstein demo is live on Steam. The Victors is coming this year on Christmas. And the Enemy Territory single player is live now on Steam and MultiB. So that's a short recap. I'm gonna post a recap of the stream on Steam, maybe a little bit later on MultiB, and all links related to the project I showcased on the stream will be in a description. So I guess that's it. And thank you all guys for coming. It was really a blast to having you here. Thank you for coming. And that's it. I guess I gotta go. So stay tuned, stay safe. Goodbye, guys. Bye-bye, and good weekends.